Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, beautiful creatures of this earth, we are back on League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys. You might have been waiting. We haven't really touched on the knockout round at all, or the draw, what things are looking like. Haven't previewed the matchups. We're too busy recapping what happened during the group stage, but today is the day we do the full deep dive preview for quarterfinals.
It is non-stop at the World Championship. Once play-ins gets rolling, you're rolling straight through into the group stage, and then you move to the group stage round robin days. And my man, it is no time to breathe because quarterfinals will be here sooner than you think.
Now we at least get some breathing room, right? You get the few days in between group stage ending and quarterfinals. You get a bigger gap for semis, bigger gap for finals, and then all of a sudden we're screaming for games for 2 months. That's just how the year works.
Hey, you're panicking at that point. The season's over. You realize, oh my God, that's a long 2 months before we get back to some regular old LCS, LEC, LPL, or LCK action.
At that point, you're begging for Academy League. Give me anything.
But we ain't there yet. We still got the juicy quarterfinals to go through. And my man, you know what? Everything said, the balance about the side of the brackets, I still think that every single one of these quarterfinals are more hype than average.
I feel like we've had years past where you're seeing a matchup and you're like, get it out. Done and dusted, 3-0, get it out of here. There might be some 3-0s, but each one of these has a compelling and exciting storyline. We start with Gen.G versus Cloud9, which is far and away the best pool 1 seed that Cloud9 could have hoped for. They're on the easier side of the bracket. And if I'm looking at picks and, you want to be picking a 2 seed versus a 1 seed as that upset, if you're an NA fan, there's a chance. There's a chance Cloud9 can win this.
The best thing is, you see Cloud9's reaction, and they carry that, sentiment through. You can see them realizing this is their opportunity, and that's the best, is Gen.G has the exact same reaction. So you know that both of these teams are feeling hopeful, are going into this quarterfinal and looking at their opponent as someone that's an opportunity to get by, that they feel like, you know what, at our best, we perform on the day, we will be getting through to that semifinal. And I think for both of these teams, absolutely justified to have that feeling. Because you look at the way Cloud9 played that final day of the round robin, their performance all the way through, that's the Cloud9 that was taking down RNG, DAMWON, Mad Lions at MSI. That's the Cloud9 that dominates in North America. And that would be a Cloud9 that could take a series away from Gen.G. Anything less, and we've seen Gen.G already at this tournament, and yes, you can have your complaints and criticisms, but you look at that roster and you tell me BDD and Ruler, they will be there and they will be performing at a high level during that quarterfinals. And if Cloud9 is not able to match up all 5 players playing well, then this is going to be a series for Gen.G to take.
Yeah, if you're going through the checklist, right at the top, big headline, all caps is it week 1 Cloud9 or week 2? Because if it's week 1, this is 3-0, done and dusted, Gen.G's moving on. If it's week 2 Cloud9, okay, we get a nice little series here. If you're talking key matchups in this one and you're going top to bottom, top, I'm probably giving a slight edge to Fudge just because of how Birdall and Rascal played in the group stage. Jungle, good Blabber, can go pretty toe-to-toe with Clid. When you go bot lane, definitely advantage Gen.G. So the key matchup, it's got to be the mid lane. It's got to be, is it playoff perks? Because if how BDD played on that last day, you're going to be needing playoff perks.
Yeah, and the way that I really feel heading towards this quarterfinals, and I'm looking at it, with PERKZ again in the mid lane, this feels just like I'm looking at a situation, kind of expectations, where it was G2 versus RNG. And I know Gen.G and RNG, you can't compare those two the way that RNG was dominating that year, but it will take that level of performance, that confidence, that trust in yourself from PERKZ that we did see on that round robin day where Cloud9 were so excellent, as you did see back in 2018 when PERKZ was able to take down Uzi and the rest of RNG. That is going to be the difference maker. Can you play at that type of individual excellency? Because that's going to be necessary when you're stacking up, let alone trying to take Cloud9 across the finish line. But with what we have seen in the form that BDD is performing at.
And the biggest gap in favor of Gen.G is probably bot lane. It's probably Ruler versus Sven specifically. But in this meta, you can win games before, 80 carries are fully having that full-fledged impact, or you have a full engage comp. We saw Ruler, if 5 people are diving on him instantly, you don't really have a chance to do anything. So it's not as big a concern. It's obviously still a big concern. Ruler can carry you some games, but I think Cloud9 can bounce back from that, which is why the mid lane is so important. But we've seen time and time again, whether it's the LCK or at Worlds, Gen.G seem to be better in these best-of-1 scenarios. When it gets to the best-of-5s, I just don't see the adaptability. They have one playstyle, one strategy, and they don't really get away from that. And because of that, maybe it's the NA blinders. I got Cloud9 winning this, Mark. I know.
Hey, we're all on the bias train over here. I got Cloud9 taking this series against G, banking on week 2, Cloud9 showing up for this
biggest thing.
For this series. And the other thing that I do think is going to be a factor is, you say, this is a best of series, not just best of ones anymore. I'm looking at the coaching staff for Cloud9, talking about not just Mithy, looking at Max Waldo. I think there's a lot of good brains back there that can come up with some strategies, some unique things. Find ways to take advantage right out of the draft. We saw that against Team Liquid back in North America, the creativity that can come through from the Cloud9 coaching staff. That, I think, can provide that extra X factor for this team to get ahead of Gen.G.
Chaos is key when it comes to best of 5s, and I definitely see Cloud9 being the ones inciting chaos way more than the likes of Gen.G. The other hope for the West, on the other side, the dark side of the bracket, Mad Lions versus DAMWON. This draw, obviously rough for Mad Lions, because I think if they draw RNG or Gen.G, I like Mad Lions at least having a really legitimate chance at getting through there. But unfortunately, drawing DAMWON, it's hard to put any team in a favorable matchup against them.
It's so tough when you're looking at this one for the Mad Lions, because you're trying to find avenues to convince yourself that the Mad Lions can pick up a win, that they can edge out DAMWON in one of these games, and you're trying to find these advantages and talk yourself into it. And you can kind of get through to 1 victory at the most. But how do you even get to 2 victories? And then the third to win this series is the big one for me. So right now, I'm going right away with DAMWON. And I think that, yes, I think the Mad Lions are going to prove some people wrong. And they're going to find a way to get that 1 win that I'm predicting. I just see it's an almost impossible task to pick up that 2nd and 3rd.
It's a great almost passing of the torch from G2 to Mad Lions. They immediately pick up the DAMWON rivalry, because you have 2019 versus them, 2020 DAMWON stomps G2. Then we get Mad Lions winning Spring, instantly play DAMWON at MSI, and that was a competitive 5-game set. DAMWON wasn't quite the form that they're in right now, but Mad Lions don't get destroyed in best of 5. Since this roster's core has come together, they have never been annihilated or stomped in any best of.
And if there's any team left at this event, not only just from EU, if there's any team left at this event that you would trust more from behind, it's the Mad Lions.
Absolutely.
This is the team that you say, okay, you got the early advantages, mid advantages. We're just going to get out to late game and we're going to out team fight you. Saying you're going to out team fight DAMWON is certainly quite a statement.
Tricky.
But absolutely, if there was a team at this event that you would like to stack up against it, out of the ones remaining, I think the Mad Lions are the best in that type of category, and what you could think of, and what we expect to see in this series happen is the Mad Lions be behind. So absolutely, I'm not counting them out. There's got to be something there, and there are avenues where if there's underperformance, if there's a slip in the scale for DAMWON, that you can absolutely look at the Mad Lions coming up and providing that challenge in those lanes. And the one for me is that bottom lane. If we see any type of regression back towards the struggles that we've seen this year from Beryl and Ghost down there, absolutely you're looking at more of a dominance from PERKZ and Kaiser, especially the way that Kaiser has been engaging, leading the engages for Mad Lions, and the way that PERKZ has been there with the damage all the time.
The 2v2 has been fantastic for the Mad Lions bot lane throughout the entire tournament so far. PERKZ had the best playoff series he's ever had at MSI against DAMWON. I know Ghost and Barrel have looked better, but yeah, I'm still giving that edge to the Mad Lions bot lane. When we look at the other spots, mid lane, I'm sorry, anyone's getting disadvantaged going up against Showmaker. Doesn't matter if it's humanoid, umanoid, subhumanoid, they're all getting disadvantaged against Showmaker. Elyoya and Canyon, I think, is closer than people might think. So for me, the key matchup is that top side, because this is going to be the biggest gap, is Khan versus ARMUT. And the real question is, can ARMUT survive? Because if he can, Mad Lions has a chance.
When you go back to MSI, different story that you're talking about, because we weren't talking about Khan Prime just yet in that type of performance and how he was feeling, how things were going. And ARMUT, I think, was playing even better for the Mad Lions at that time. The way things were, very different scenario this time around when you look at this series. Nobody's been better in the top lane throughout this event so far than Khan. He has been an unbelievable force individually in that top side, and then as well in the team fights. He has been crucial and clutch for this DAMWON team. There's not anything more praise that we can give to this man and what he's done. And then on the flip side, it is going to be that challenge for ARMUT, and he has gone through some challenges throughout the group stage. He has been pushed by Alfari, he's been pushed by Ale, all these type of things. And now it's time to see what you can do, what type of impact you can have. And I know into that matchup against Khan is going to be incredibly tough, but you're looking to not lose so much is what I'm looking with ARMUT. You need to be able to play that weak side gracefully, and this matchup is going to be key. Because again, Khan's going to matter in those team fights later on. Are you? That's the question. Are you going to have an impact?
And weak side is going to be the word, because Khan has been playing very much to dominate the laning phase. Canyon's always hovering around top side, and ARMUT probably gets the least attention of all the lanes on Mad Lions. So this could snowball real quick, and we've seen in games, LNG versus Gen.G, some of these top lane snowballs, that's the one lane that people push and punish mistakes so hard that you just lose from one lane.
And it's one of those things where you think about this Mad Lions team, the advantages or, disadvantages that you want to make sure are not so much, going up against DAMWON. You're expecting Elyoya to be paying attention in mid lane, trying to help out that bottom lane and edge out an advantage there. You can't be spending too much time changing what has happened, that attention towards that top side, where again, it is on ARMUT. How much can you withstand? What type of performance are you going to have? And what type of discipline and awareness you're going to bring into this series? Because when you're playing that top side, weak side, that's the big one for me, is that discipline and awareness. Awareness of what's happening around the map, the jungle, everything else. And then the discipline to not overextend, not push yourself too much. That will be key against Khan.
It's always better to miss a wave of creeps than to die and miss 3 waves of creeps. Just remember that, top laners, when you are at home. I'm with you that DAMWON's going to win this, but I got a very competitive 4-game series, and Mad Lions put up a good show for all of EU. Other side of the bracket, we got the LCK Civil War, a rematch of the Gauntlet Finals, T1 versus HANWHA. Tough draw for HANWHA, sure, but when you're the 2 seed, I mean, if you're not getting Gen.G, it was going to be a tough draw for them, really. On paper, T1 are going to be pretty big favorites for this, based on the group stage, as they absolutely should be. And, the biggest mismatch immediately jumping out is Kana versus Morgan.
That is going to be a big problem. That was a big problem in the regional gauntlet, man, because you know what? T1's coaching staff came prepared on the day, and they made sure that those bans getting full value from them.
Just wrote Kennen in all caps on paper. That was the secret.
Absolutely. And so that's going to be an adaptation that I want to see from HANWHA Life. What have they prepared? What do they know that they're going to need to do differently this time around? Because when we're looking at this series, you can't just simply look at that regional gauntlet final, right? As much as we want to reference it and look at it and can take things from it, you got to realize that both of these teams have changed and improved since then. That's the biggest one for me when you're looking at how they've played through HANWHA Life, through play-ins, everything else. T1, the dominance that they have shown and how clean they can perform in this group stage. They've both gotten better, and that's going to be the real test as well. How much in which avenues? Because you can make arguments on the side of HANWHA Life from what type of performance you're going to get from Chovy, how much better the bottom lane as duos and individuals have been. But then you weigh that against what's been going on the T1 side, and I tell you what, all those gains are great. Having Owner play the way that he is for this T1 team might be better.
Yeah, Owner and the Willard matchup is another pretty lopsided in the favor of T1 based on what we've seen for the majority of the year. If you look at the bot lane, Deft and Vista have been great, but Gumiyoshi and Kyria in lane is disgusting and one of the best bot lanes in the tournament, so you're still giving the edge there. Then we get to the matchup that everybody wants, of course. I can't believe we waited this long to talk Faker versus Chovy. This is probably the only lane that you're giving, in a head-to-head lane, you're giving the edge to Chovy because of the absolutely ludicrous laning numbers that he's put up throughout the entire year. But it doesn't matter how good the numbers are. In a best-of-5 series at Worlds, you're not dumpstering Faker in lane. It doesn't matter the matchup. It doesn't matter. It's not happening.
There's only two guys, really, that you could ever look at an individual matchup, or at least two guys from the LCK. I'll limit it to that. You could say can really challenge and overtake Faker in that 1v1 type of situation. And absolutely one is Chovy, and we've seen it consistently enough that you can confidently say that as far as CS advantages and whatnot. But you're right, this is not just about a single game or even at the very least a best of 3. This is a best of 5. And then we know when you get into this territory, absolutely the experience, the knowledge, everything that is on the side of Faker in that regard plays into that advantage. And I'm with you, my man. We talk about it a lot of times, and there is some times that Faker I don't think gets quite the acknowledgement that he deserves because people want to be conservative with it. No conservative this time. He is the king, and he's gonna take that throne again against Chovy in this matchup.
I'm gonna assume we're both picking T1 here, but the question is HANWHA getting a dub? Are they picking up a win in this series, Mark?
I think they do. I think there's enough from HANWHA Life and enough growth from them that we have seen that it will be positive. It will be them making a difference to get a win against T1. But overall, I just think that this is too much in favor for the T1 squad.
I think it's HANWHA taking game 1 so that immediately all the T1 fans are sweating, and then it's going to be 3 increasingly convincing wins for T1. But I think they get a little bit of sweat. They don't get through the shirt, but you get the moisture in the armpits getting a little sweaty. But yeah, we both got T1 taking this LCK Civil War. Speaking of Civil Wars, other side of the bracket, you're always guaranteed to get LPL v LPL matchups, even when there's only 2 teams, but they are guaranteed a spot in semifinals at the very least. We're talking RNG versus EDG. Very familiar with each other, obviously, probably the best rivalry within the LPL, even if there's no Clear Love or Uzi anymore. EDG, pretty clearly the best second seed coming into this knockout round.
Man, this is gonna be. I think a lot of people are sleeping on how exciting this matchup can be in the quarterfinals for RNG and EDG. Because look, you go back to the LPL and you go through all the different series that we had. Yeah, absolutely. There's exciting ones with FPX, EDG, Top eSports, EDG. Hell, even throwing an IG series there was some excitement. But I tell you what, you're looking for one of the peak ones. It is RNG and EDG throughout the playoffs. That was one of the best series that we've gotten, and we're going to get a repeat of it. That went all the way. 5 games? I think we're going to get a similar situation again for this quarterfinal.
It's an absolutely stacked quarterfinal matchup. The closest one on paper, I would say, for sure. And, I mean, you wouldn't be surprised coming into this tournament if this was a semifinals or maybe even a finals matchup. The fact that EDG did drop to that second seed was a bit of a surprise. But if EDG comes away with the win, I don't even think it's really an upset. I don't think there's an upset possibility in this series.
And this isn't meant to be any disrespect towards RNG and what they accomplished in their group, but absolutely, I think that has to be the takeaway. That this is just an even fight. This is the LPL, throwing the LPL, what is the best remaining from the region against each other and seeing what's going to come through, who's going to be the victor. It's going to be an extremely exciting and close series where there are advantages on both sides that you can talk about, and depending on how highly you value those advantages, I think that plays into who do you think is going to win the Game 5 of this series, because I bet a lot of people are expecting it to go the full distance.
Topside, Xiaohu's getting an edge over anybody in the LPL. Jungle, I think you give Wei the slight advantage over JJ. Biggest advantage of the series is going to be Scout over Cryan in the mid lane, which is why I'm picking that key matchup. Give me the bot lane. Give me Gala and Viper. Pretty much, I would say, consensus top 280 carries for most people coming into this event.
Alongside, pretty much, a couple of other top 3 supports at this event with Mako and Ming by them. Man, this is gonna be awesome. And you know what we have seen from these two? These have to be the 2 leading ADCs from this year from the LPL. How many times have we said, oh my goodness, rookie of the split in the LPL, Viper, how amazing
Rookie and
is he?
MVP, hell yeah.
Oh, you love to see it, and it was fantastic. But the only other name that we could talk about in that type of category and that we gave equal amount of praise was Gala. The role that he has done stepping in for the recently, congratulations for getting married, Uzi, thank you. But, hey, Gala's there and he's performing fantastic, so you don't need to worry one little bit. My man, this is going to be an explosive bot lane matchup. You better believe that 2v2, 1v1, they're going to be challenging each other at every opportunity they get.
The best part, I think, with both Gala and Viper, they are both examples of the higher stakes, the bigger the game, the more clutch they seem to play. How many times have both of these guys we see in key playoff games have some of their best games of the year?
You don't need to look far. You need to just go into the highlight search wherever you want on YouTube. You'll find them from this year. The amount of times that they pull off an incredible, 4v2 or whatever type of situation. These are the guys that will bet on themselves no matter the situation and find a way to mechanically pull it off, is what you're getting from these 2 stars in Viper and Gala.
This is the toughest series for me to pick. I feel like maybe that slight slub towards the end for EDG and just the historical mental block that EDG has on the world stage makes me want to side with RNG. 100% this is going 5 games either way. I'm giving it to RNG 51-49.
I see. I'm pretty confident in my pick here. I can understand it being a difficult decision. I'm very confident in mine. I'm going all in on the RNG train, and yes, I'm still going for the 3-2 for RNG. But you better believe why, and it's because when I'm looking at this series, it just screams out to me. How much can Xiaohu carry in that top lane? And how bad is Cryan going to perform against Scout? That is the big difference maker. And I think, you know what? There's going to be times where Scout gets his feet. He's going to get his advantages. I just don't think it's going to outweigh the amount of times that Xiaohu pops off. So I'm going with RNG.
If I'm EDG, I'm banning Twisted Fate all 5 games so that Cryan can't get on it. That's it.
Yeah, get Twisted Fate out of there. And we've talked about this. No ADCs for Xiaohu. Do not let him get a hand on that.
Hey, that's something, put Viper on the Lucian Nami with Mako in the bot lane, and that is going to be an absolute terror. So yeah, pick ban. I think specifically targeting Xiaohu and Cryan, that is the avenue to success for EDG. But this is looking like it's going to be the closest series of the quarterfinals. That is it today for League on Lock. Eric and Mark here with you guys. As always, thanks for hanging out with us, and we will catch you guys and gals on the flippity flip.